So, essential cowboy wear is a wild rag, which is a scarf or a bandana, but they call it a wild rag because back in the old days, when the cowboys were going into town, what they would do is they'd root through their war bag and they'd get their fanciest scarf and they'd strap it on, and that would be their wild rag because they were going to town to party it up. So that name kind of stuck with it. So we call it a wild rag. There's a couple different ties, and there's some pretty intricate ones you can have, but the one I generally put on is, I'll just take it and I'll have the front of it around, I might be a little clumsy on this here, but I take the front of it. So if I'm holding on to it right here, I'll slow down here, and I'm gonna have it hanging down here like this, then I just wrap it over and I put a square knot in it, and I tie it here. So what this does is it's really snug and warm. I've got the front part of it here, the sort of the V of it like that, right on my neck where the wind would get in there, and the back goes around. Now, you might strap that on first thing in the morning when you're going out to work, and then as the day gets going and it gets warmer and the sun gets up, you get a little bit warm. So then what you might do is you just might take it and throw it around behind you here and just tie it to where you've got it when you need it, but it's not like it's wrapped around your neck real tight and keeping you too warm. So there's a couple ways of doing it. A little warmer when it's colder and that wind's blowing, you're going to wrap it around, double wrap, put it the way I showed it to you first. So that's your wild rag essential item. So both of these scarves, the blue one I had on earlier and this sort of, I don't know if you'd call it purple, or what would you call it, Shelby?
It's like a crimson red.
Crimson red. Okay, that's a pretty good name for it. And it's silk, and what we really like about silk is it's light, but it's kind of got a real tight weave to it. So what it does is it wicks off moisture, but it stays to where it's real comfortable on your neck. It's got a real kind of soft feeling to it, but they're durable. Silk's a real durable product that lasts a long time. So I mean, if you look after it to a certain extent, you don't have to nursemaid it, but if you look after it to a certain extent, it'll last you a long time. You know what, in Alberta, you could be wearing one of these in July and you could be wearing one of these in January. It wouldn't matter. But if the wind's blowing and it's cold, there's nothing more snug. And I like them this size too. You get some that are smaller, and the end of your knot is only got maybe just a little bit of the end right here because it's too small. I like one that's, shoot, I don't know how long that one is. It's a pretty big one, but that's the one I reach for all the time, are the bigger ones, because they're easier. You don't have to have a little knot at the end of it like that. You got more room. They're luxurious. Both of these are Lamleys. They're just super nice. They're super comfortable, and they're essential cowboy gear. This is, I talked about the bigger ones. For me personally, for a lady with a smaller neck, this one right here might just work just fine. It's a little bit smaller. I could still get by with it. I like the ones that have a longer tail on it. But you can see on these smaller ones, you can just still tie them. And it might be, it's kind of personal what you like better. This one here is a little smaller. I like the bigger ones. But in the cowboy world, like in the business world, there's a suit and tie. In the cowboy world, this is your suit and tie. I mean, it's part of what you wear. It's very functional. And being that it's silk and you want to look after it, when you wash it, rather than just throwing it into the washing machine by itself, just take it and stick it in a sock and then throw it in your washing machine and wash it. That'll make sure that it doesn't get wrapped around or get wrecked or anything like that. Or you can hand wash it, but it's easy just to throw it in the sock and throw it in the washer. So, essential cowboy gear, your wild rag. Here's three different wild rags. This is sort of what do you call this one, the color?
Crimson red.
Crimson red. And we've got a real pretty blue, and this is the smaller one, and this may be more like a little kid's one or a lady's one. Let me just move that colt over here, okay? And you can get these at Lamley's, and if you're a cowboy or maybe you're just out feeding the cows or you're going to town, this is essential wear. Go to Lamley's and get yourself one, get two, maybe get both sides. Both sides. Where'd you get that? Oh, Lamley's gave it to me.